Hey, everybody, it's Greg Harrelson here. And of course, it is that Tuesday, and we are on the Real Geeks Mastermind Facebook page, just, sharing a little bit more as to how we're working the Real Geek system and in hopes that we can help you build your business. Of course, today we're going to talk about how to increase your database engagement. I think it's very important. Last week, unfortunately, we had to cancel the show because there was something going on with social media. I mean, at one point, the Facebook was actually down, and then it came back up, and we were a little bit concerned it was going to go on and off. So we just did not do the episode last week. So we'll just continue this week. Again, we're talking about how to increase database management. So I've got an outline that I kind of wrote for today to just kind of share with share with each other to discuss in hopes again that that something that we say could make a difference. So I hope you guys are starting off with a great week. Hopefully you're generating business. At the end of the day, this conversation is extremely important. Let's talk about databases. I have talked about databases for many years. One thing that brings us together is Real Geeks. And Real Geeks is many things. Real Geeks is a CRM. It's a place that we can start building and working our database. There's many things that Real Geeks does. It could be a lead capture tool, a lead generating tool, a lead identification tool. I could go on and on and on about how I would describe Real Geeks. But what I want to make sure we discuss today is how in the world are we going to increase engagement? And on top of that, I want to just make sure that we recognize how extremely important it is to be working on some engagement strategies or re-engagement strategies. Look, I did probably 6 months ago, I did a coaching call to the Real Geeks Mastery Group. I did a coaching call, and it was called, I believe the name of the coaching call was The Great Data Race. The Great Data Race. Now, what the Great Data Race was or is this, is before long, in my opinion, even less of our emails are going to be delivered. Before long. Before long, even less of our texts are going to be delivered. Now, we've heard about deliverability rates going down. It's going down in every CRM, in every industry in the United States, and maybe beyond, even though I don't know anything else about beyond United States when it comes to email deliverability. But what I do know, it's every industry, every CRM. If we are sending lots of emails and the emails are the same subject lines, the same content, the email deliverability companies, the email companies, they know that. They know that it's mass, and they are throttling down how many they allow to be delivered because they're getting complaints as to too much spam is coming through. And if people keep complaining to them about spam, then people will shift from Gmail to Yahoo to Hotmail to whatever email server they want to switch to. But email companies don't want people to switch. They want to retain these customers. So they are throttling down and impacting or influencing email deliverability. Not going to stop. Okay, so we must anticipate that fewer of our emails will go through, period. We must anticipate that fewer of our texts will go through. And I'm talking about if you text 5 people in a group text or 50 people through a group texting app, my prediction is it's going to continue to be less and less deliverability because people are complaining to the cell phone carriers that we're getting too much spam. You're getting a lot of spam. Heck, we're all getting it from those health care companies that are saying health insurance, and they're using NAR as saying we're part of NAR. I don't know who they're part of. All I just know, it won't stop. It's relentless. And people are calling their carriers and saying, if you don't put a stop to this, I'm changing carriers. So the carriers are forced to influence the deliverability rate. So they have to try to figure out what is a good text and what's a bad text. What is a spam text? What's a business text? What's a legitimate text? I don't think that they're going to perfect that system. So what they will do is just deliver fewer when they detect it's in bulk. And I'm sure there's other reasons why they'll figure out, or there's other reasons why they would throttle it down. So I talk about the great data race. Greg, what is the great data race? The great data race is this. Fewer of our communications are going to be delivered, are going to be received by people that we don't have a relationship established. Hence the data race. Like you've got to have a database. So it's a race. Who's going to have the biggest database and the most engaged database? And the key is engagement, what we're talking about today. Engaged database. The biggest and the most engaged. The person who's got the biggest and the most engaged wins the data race because their messages are going to be opened more. They're going to be delivered more. They're going to be response rates going to be higher. Our online or email reputation is going to be higher. The customer, consumer, client experience is going to all be higher, which can all influence deliverability. So it comes down to the database being engaged. If we've got an engaged database, people that are opening up our emails, constantly communicating with us, constantly, I use that loosely, meaning communicating with us at times, these companies also see that. They see, oh gosh, every time Greg sends an email, John Doe opens it and usually even responds and clicks through. So when Greg sends to John Doe, we believe that's legit, so we'll let it pass through. But if Greg's sending to Jane Doe, and it's a very similar email that they sent to Tim, Tina, and Tom, and I don't see any history of them ever communicating together, that's suspicious. Probably won't let it go through. Now, again, I don't want to pretend that I'm the email carriers or email companies and text carriers, cell phone carriers. I'm really just using my logic as to what's going on here. I mean, I hear quite a bit, but I'm just kind of taking what I've heard and using logic to this. And coming back down to this, I can only control what I can control. And I need to stop worrying and complaining and, bitching about things that I don't control. I don't control what these companies do, but I do control how I engage with my database, how I'm adding value to my database, the frequency that I'm communicating to my database, the amount, like how much am I bombarding them? Want to probably kind of chill out on that. So I've got some points here on how we can increase database engagement, but it's not just, the reason why I share what I just shared is because I don't want you to think that the only reason we want to engage with our database, increase engagement, is because we want to convert more deals today. Yes, I want to convert more deals today. But it's bigger than this. If we don't start getting our database engaged, then how and who are we going to be able to talk to? I mean, you can ask people that cold call for listings. Ask them, hey, 5 years ago, how many people could you would pick up the phone per hour? They might say 8. 10 years ago, how many people? Per hour? 15. Today, how many? 4 or 5. You see? Like, well, okay, if it went from 15 to 8 to 4 or 5, does it eventually go to 2? Does it one day go to 1? What will you do then? What will we do then? So my job for the agents that I coach and my agents in my office, my job is to kind of get an idea of where the market's going and try to get there 1 to 2 years ahead of time. So when everyone's worried in 2 years that they can't get anyone to pick up the phone, nothing's been delivered, we're actually gaining market share. So I'm sharing with you exactly what I'm sharing with my own agents. By the way, before I get into the points, I will say I do have Real Geeks Mastery as my coaching program. You can go to rgmastery.com. Just check it out. Basically, what I coach there is I coach on Real Geeks and how we monetize these Real Geeks websites, how we build them, how we communicate to our databases. So everything that I'm talking about right now, I go into much more in depth I go to more depth, I should say, within our RG Mastery coaching program. So if you want to further your education and work with us on how to build out this, just check out that website. It's a small monthly fee. It's a live group call, cancel anytime. There's no contract. So there's a low barrier of entry. If you don't enjoy what I'm coaching, then you can just fire me at any time. But let's talk about some ideas here. Okay. So we all have a database. Some of us need to be building our database bigger. Some of us have big databases. We need to figure out how to get more engagement. I want to share with you the single most engaged, most opened, and most engaged email that we've ever sent through our Real Geek system. And that is, we send an email every week. And we do text it also, not to 100% of everybody in our database, but on certain criteria. We'll text this and we'll a link and we'll send an email. And it's the top 10 listings in the Myrtle Beach market. The top 10 listings that hit the market this week in the Myrtle Beach market. Now, what you do, and I've shared this idea before, but it's very important about today's conversation because we're talking about database engagement. How do we get people to open our emails that we're sending? How do we get people to click through our emails and eventually get back on our website and start searching and looking at properties? So this top 10 listings of the week is an important one. We send it out and it happens to be the most opened. It happens to be the most click through. When they open it, they click the link. That means they go to our our Real Geeks website because we have a top 10 new listings page on the website. Okay. We have actually top 10 new listings between $300,000 and $400,000 page and every other type of criteria. We have top 10 listed pages built on our website. So when we send those emails out promoting that link, we get high open rate because the subject line says top 10 new listings hit the Myrtle Beach market, or it could say a price range or listings with pools. That's in the subject line. So it's a high open rate. And then they click on it and they land on our website. So they got a high click-through rate. Now they're on our website. Now we're building traffic for our website. So that's an example. Like that's something all of you can do. Now, if you want to know, how do you pick out the top 10 every single week? That seems tedious. I don't. I just build a page. And then in the page, I pull in all the new listings. So every time you click that link, if you click it once every 15, 20, 30 minutes, the list can change because it's in real time. It's always adding the next new listing to hit the MLS. So it's a live page built out that at any time they can click the same link. So if they click it in 2 weeks from now, it's going to give them the newest listings. High open, high click through, highly engaged. It's how I get them back to my website, moving. And when I see them moving, guess what ends up happening? A lot of times they will then save another property. They'll favorite another property. That'll trigger another activity on my part. So step number 1 is creating that top 10 listings page. Now, I will say, I go a little bit further. We blog it on a blog site, not just on the Real Geek site. We blog it on a different site and drive traffic to that page, and we get signups. Today is not really about signups, but we do get organic traffic. We do get direct traffic. We do get organic traffic. We capture leads. But today, the most important thing I want to deliver to you and share with you is we get engagement. Ways to increase engagement. We are doing, when we get a new lead, it's important to understand the faster you get to the new lead and establish rapport and connection, the more likely that they will be engaged in your database. In other words, we get an online lead, we make one phone call, we don't get them on the phone, and then we got alerts going out to them, fine. But then we realize these people are not engaged because we've never made a connection to them. So whenever we get a new lead, it's important that you do call them, you do text them, you do email them, you leave a message when you call them. Like, Do everything you can to get them on the phone in the first couple minutes. Get them engaged offline. If you'll get them engaged offline, you can build rapport. If you build rapport offline, they will engage with you online. So a lot of our engagement problems is not that the systems are not working, not that we're not, sending stuff. It's this that there's no connection. They've never made an offline connection with us. Therefore, there's no reason, there's no rapport, there's no relationship, no trust being built as to why they would open up our stuff. And if they do open it up, whether or not they would click through it, go back to our website, get very engaged. So I would be remiss if I did not say that one of the most critical parts to engagement is establishing connection offline. That is critical, critical, critical. The next thing is making sure every single person in your database should either be on a sold report, because maybe they're a property owner, potential seller, a market activity report that could work with buyers or sellers, or a new listing alert. In other words, everybody should be on. So I would be looking through my database right now and saying how many people are not receiving a new listing report, like a notification of new listings, means there's no safe search stuff, a market activity report, or a sold report. In other words, if you're not leveraging the automation, then there's nothing going out to them that has any value to them, except maybe you're doing an email blast. That's what a lot of people will do, meaning they'll create a workflow and just blast a bunch of emails to people in hope that somebody opens something up and clicks through. Well, it's not that those things, it's hard to determine what's relevant and not relevant in those kind of email blast formats. But we do know for most people, new listing alerts, market activity reports, and or sold reports have relevance. It's information that they were at one point seeking out. So go through your database and you may find out that over 50% of the people in your database are not even receiving any reports or notifications. What you can do is you can immediately call them, establish rapport, then set them up, and notice you'll have higher engagement. Another way to increase engagement is you got to respond to their activity. I'm not a reactor. I like to think I'm a responder, but in a way, I'm kind of saying you need to react more. And that is when somebody is doing a search on your property, that you could see they're on the website, they're doing some searching. While they're on the website, text them. And don't text them, hey, I saw you're on my website. Don't text them that. Text them, hey, here's a property I want you to check out. And then have a link to it. Just text them that. Hey, just thought about you, saw this property. I want you to check it out. Let me know what you think. Now, if you know they're on your website, then sending them that text about real estate will not be an interruption. That's the task. That's the activity they're engaging in at this moment. So don't be like, oh, I don't want to text them right then. Well, when are you going to text them? When they're off your website? Now they're trying to cook dinner, or they're trying to drive their kids to soccer, or they're trying to walk their dog down the, in the yard. You're going to be interrupting them. The fact that you do it while they're on your website, then you're actually meeting them where they are at the moment. If you actually wait, then you're going to be interrupting them in some other activity that's not related to real estate, and they're probably not going to respond. They're probably not going to engage. But can you imagine if they're on the website and you send that text? When you send that text, now you get them to engage. You're establishing connection. Engagement creates engagement. So if you can get them to engage like I just shared with you right then, you'll get them to engage in other areas. If they save a search, do the same thing. So think about their activity. If they're on the website, they save a search, they favorite a property, text them something. Start engaging with them. Get them deeper into your website. Get them deeper connected into you or with you. All of this. So then when your emails go out next week, maybe you send a newsletter every week like I do in Real Geeks coaching, the coaching program that we have. I actually share with them the exact newsletter that I send and video that I send. And I will get more people to watch the video, more people to engage with my emails if I do these strategies on the front end. Be careful on long workflows. Long workflows. Like I know it's a set it and forget it kind of mentality we have as an industry. Oh, I want to create this email workflow that'll like follow up with them for 12 months. It's going to be some of the worst engagement, open rate, and click-through rate that you'll ever have are those really long workflows. Now, you will see videos of me years ago talking about long workflows. Heck, I had 4-year workflow campaigns at one time. Now I use none of them. Everything are workflows that's designed to follow an advanced search filter result. Advanced search filters, if you don't know what that is, you want to look at this. This is something that's great about Real Geeks is these advanced search filters. So it'll be a advanced search filter that'll have a corresponding workflow that'll only have 2, maybe max 3 sequences. It'll be like 3 points of communication, probably within a 24 to 48 hours max time frame, and then it'll end. Anything beyond that's going to have terrible engagement. Terrible engagement is going to lead to poor deliverability. So again, I can't control deliverability, but I can understand it. And then I can control what I can control, which is to change up, be a little bit more creative how I do things within my Real Geek system. I think everybody should create an advanced search filter today. And the advanced search filter should have this in it. It should have, you want to filter all leads and have a button on your dashboard that every day you can see how many leads have had no activity. There's been no activity logged, no activity, no searching activity, nothing in the last 30 days. Now, for some of you, that's going to be a lot of people, and it might be discouraged. It might be overwhelming. But it's important, like, let's face the reality, because if they haven't engaged in the last 30 days, they're probably not going to engage in the next 30 days or the next 30 days or the next 30 days. And if that continues, then we've lost our database, because a disengaged database is no database. A disengaged database is nothing more than just a list of names stored in a CRM. A database to me is a working document. It's something like that. There's two-way traffic. I'm doing this, they're doing that. We're engaging, we're interacting. That's a database. A disengaged database is nothing more than just a list of random people, like a phone book list. Has very little to no value. What we're trying to do is build value in our database by having engagement. So what we need to do is we need to be able to figure out who is disengaged right now. Build an advanced search filter of people that have had no activity, have not favorited a property, have not reviewed a market activity report, have not done any activity in the last 30 days. And then my challenge to you is send them the top 10 listings of the week. Watch how many of them will go from not engaged in the past 30 days to now engaged. And then if you'll send them that every week, you'll see that a high percentage of them are engaging every week. Now you've got a database. Now you're competing in the data race. And that's what it all boils down to. We've got to understand the market is changing, and 99% of the real estate agents don't know it. If we don't start competing in the data race, which is the race to engaging our database, we may find ourselves having a challenge on how to actually communicate and connect with people. So again, if I can do anything for you, I'd love for you to go to rgmastery.com, check out my Real Geeks Mastery coaching program. It's very inexpensive, no contracts. It's a live call every week, a group setting. You can ask questions. I'm on it. My staff is on it that knows Real Geeks. And we're just helping everybody build a better Real Geeks platform where we can turn Real Geeks from an expense to an investment that produces a return. I'm all about getting an ROI on our technology. All right, everybody. I hope you found that helpful. You have a wonderful rest of your week. See you next week. Bye-bye.